Thank you. Now that I've been effective at getting you all to take your seats, would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now you may take your seats.
Haven't done that in a long time.
Everyone, I'm Mike Prioletti, First Vice President and Branch Manager for the Baird Private Wealth Management Office here in Naples. I'm also a longtime member of the Hodges University Board of Trustees. Wearing both hats, it's truly my pleasure to welcome all of you to honor two of the most dedicated and committed stewards of our community. Today we present the 15th Annual Hodges University Humanitarian of the Year Award to Sharon and Dolph von Arx, whose generosity and spirit of giving have enriched the lives of hundreds of citizens here in Southwest Florida. I've been affiliated with Hodges University for many years, and I continue to be amazed at what this institution is doing to improve our community. From a handful of students in 1990, today there are over 3,000 students currently enrolled, and over 6,000 degrees have been awarded from its associate, baccalaureate, and graduate programs. And I'm sure you'll be impressed, as I was, considering the current economic climate. Among the 29 independent colleges and universities in Florida, Hodges ranks first in the number of graduates who are currently employed. That is what sets Hodges apart from most schools. It offers a wide range of learning platforms that allows each student to excel in their studies, earn a degree, and since most of the students live here in our community, contribute to a highly skilled workforce. Who are Hodges University students? They're single parents looking to make life better for themselves and improve the world for their children and grandchildren. They're adults who have to squeeze more from their days in order to juggle life's responsibilities along with full academic schedules on top of full-time jobs. They're veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, leaving the battlefield behind, entering into civilian life, and looking ahead to a new future. And like our honorees today, many Hodges students represent the first generation in their families to attend college, something that was previously only a distant dream out of reach to previous generations. These students are the future leaders of our community. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Judging from the 14 humanitarians who preceded them, I anticipate that Dolph and Sharon's story will be an inspiration to all of us. I would now like to invite Reverend Michael Basden, Rector of Trinity by the Cove Episcopal Church in Naples, for the invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious God, hear our prayers of gratitude this day as we gather to share in the honor being bestowed by Hodges University to Sharon and Dolph. May their spirit of giving, dedication to the well-being of others, and to your creation inspire us to utilize the gifts you have entrusted to us, to use in such ways that are worthy of your generosity. And may we leave here today with a renewed sense to do what is right in the service of others, following the example of Sharon and Dolph. Bless our time together, the bounty of the table, and all this we pray in your great name. Amen.
Baird Private Wealth Management is pleased to again be the presenting sponsor of this fine event. Baird has been serving the Naples community for nearly 25 years, and I'm happy to be part of this team of talented, caring Baird associates who make a profound difference in the lives difference in the lives of the families we serve. Each of our associates also makes a difference in our community, proudly supporting and leading many civic and charitable organizations. The fact that Baird has been named to Fortune's 100 Best Places to Work for 8 consecutive years, ranking number 14 in 2011, is national recognition of our commitment to our clients, our associates, and our communities. We at Baird appreciate our partnership with Hodges University and share their commitment to maintaining a culture of integrity, quality, and value. The Humanitarian of the Year Award recognizes human beings who are making a difference in the lives of other human beings. As you'll see today, Dolph and Sharon certainly fit this definition. Their contributions to our community are significant, spanning dozens of years of service to Southwest Florida. Through the many charitable efforts they undertake, Dolph and Sharon have made and continue to truly make a positive impact on the lives of so many in our community. They're sought after for their leadership and admired for their results. In closing, I would like to say to Dolph and Sharon, on behalf of all of us gathered in this room, we thank you for everything you've done to make Naples and Southwest Florida a better place for all of us. Just like the humanitarian honorees that came before you, we are in debt to you for your outstanding community service. You are an inspiration to us all. I would now like to bring up Dr. John Meyer from the Johnson School of Business at Hodges University. He is the program chair for the Turf Grass Management Program and the vice chair of the management department. John?
Good morning. President McMahon, trustees, distinguished guests, and humanitarian staff and Sharon von Arx. I'm honored today to present the annual Founders Award to an exceptional graduate of our Masters of Science in Management program. And that's what you can see. The Founders Award is presented to a Hodges University alumna or alumnus who has provided outstanding and distinguished service to our community. Past recipients of this award in attendance today include Anna Maria Sanica, Anna, if you're here, stand up, and Joe Frazier. Sort of a difficult thing to come up with adequate words to make an introduction like this. And when I was asked to do it, one of the first things I thought I should do is try to say a few words that would describe Tamika. So I think I would describe her as being very intelligent. Certainly she was a good student. But like many of the adult students that go through our programs, I believe that she felt a restlessness about finding meaning and purpose beyond what she was otherwise doing in her life, beyond what she already accomplished. People like Tamika believe, and I would certainly have to agree, that a significant portion of their waking hours should be devoted to the pursuit of their passions. And many people also feel that their calling somehow revolves or should revolve around helping others, but often have difficulty in specifically describing or defining how that might be done. I don't think Tamika was any exception in that regard. But in her case, she's been able to find the definition and the expression of her passion and meaning and calling in her community service with the NAACP, with the Collier County Black Affairs Advisory Board, with AMI Kids, and others. She's been able to apply her education and her native skills, my words, talents, and abilities. And these are things that Tamika might describe as her hidden talents. They're hidden. And she does this to the pursuit of her passion. Tamika does this not for any recognition or for any congratulation, but for the pure joy and fulfillment that she derives from applying her abilities and her beliefs to one of her purposes. I therefore believe that the adjective humanitarian also applies to Tamika, and I would be a bit surprised to see her back as a future official recipient. Therefore, I'm honored to ask her to please step forward now.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for being here today. It's a true honor to stand here before you today to receive this year's Founders Award. before so many outstanding citizens of our community, including today's recognized humanitarians, Dolph and Sharon. I have to admit that my first thought when I was notified that I was chosen for this award was, wow, what an honor. Then I thought, what is the Founders Award? Learning that this award recognizes a Hodges University graduate for outstanding service to the community, I felt truly moved and happy that my school has chosen to notice me for my community service efforts. I believe strongly that each individual should give back to others of their strengths and abilities to improve situations of need and better our communities. Service shouldn't be for awards. Still, this recognition is truly an honor, it's exciting, it's meaningful, and it's sweet. Recently, I have donated my time and effort to the NAACP Collier County branch as we plan the first Juneteenth celebration held in Sugden Park this past year. This is a national gathering that's recognized by Emancipation Proclamation Day that freed slaves. It was a true freedom celebration that was enjoyed and appreciated by many diverse people in the community. I've also been active with the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade that we have annually in downtown Naples that goes down Fifth Avenue and Cambria Park. Thank you very much, Hodges University, for your support of this event, and Dr. McMahon for addressing the crowd. You made me very happy. Well, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, where we didn't have a whole lot, but my mother always instilled in me the importance of giving back to your community, even if it's just your time. The NAACP has been my mentor for change and making a difference in this community by celebrating diversity and bringing us together. I'm also proud of Hodges University for its annual Diversity Festival. Deciding to attend Hodges University was a life-changing experience for me. I consider Hodges University, and especially my management professor, Dr. Meyer, my partners in success, and I realize the success that I realize and continue to realize each day. I would like to dedicate this award to all women who are working full-time, going to school, raising a family, who still has time to give back to their community. I am proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I've come a long way in my life, having grown up in South Central Los Angeles and being the first one in my family to have received a bachelor's as well as a master's degree. My success has brought hope to all members of my family as well as my extended family, and that through dedication and persistence, all things are possible. Thank you, Hodges University, for educating leaders of tomorrow and today by preparing graduates for productive lives and leadership and service for the benefit of the community. Thank you very much.
I think it's time to eat.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please continue to eat, but I want to go ahead and start the program so that I know a lot of you have to get back out into the place. I am Terry McMahon. I have the privilege of serving in the Laverne Norris Gaynor President's Chair at Hodges University, and let me extend my welcome to all of you on this great celebratory event. First of all, you can't have these type of events without sponsors, so allow me a few moments to recognize some folks in the crowd who have helped to make this possible. And obviously, I'd like to extend a great deal of appreciation to Robert W. Baird and Company and Mike Brioletti for being presenting sponsors. Thank you much.
Our founders circle benefactor were Truly and Vicki Nolan. Thank you, Truly. Thank you, Truly. As the president circle benefactor, we have Stock Development, Brian. Or Brian here, Brian Stock. Back there, Bank of America, Jerry Mall, and thank you for bringing Mr. Tim Lewis and his wife today. Appreciate that. And Judy Sproul and Hallstatt Partnership. Let's please give all the presidents a at the Ambassador Circle level, we have the HMA Foundation, Moorings Park, Soft Trim Corporation, Verizon Wireless, and Simplex Grinnell. Please thank them as well. We have many of our leaders in attendance today. I would like for John Agnelli, who's the chairman of our board of trustees, and the other trustees in attendance to please stand and be recognized. Likewise, we have our foundation board members here, and I know we have 4 or 5, including some people saying are behind me here, but I'd like for them to stand and be recognized, to be all foundation members. We are privileged to have our namesakes in attendance with us, Earl and Delma Hodges. Earl, Delma, please stand. Earl, I won't make you stand up when we go over the humanitarian list, so you're okay, all right? We do have some past humanitarians in attendance with us. 1997, Lemur Norris Gaynor. Wow. The late Jack Humphrey was our 99 recipient, and his wife Sarah Jane Humphrey is here today. Earl was 2001, and the late Frances Pugh Hayes in 2002. Her daughter Elizabeth Black is here. Elizabeth. In 2004, the Golden Voice, Peter Thomas. And Peter again narrated the video that you will see in a few moments, so thank you again, Peter, for helping out there. Ellen Guess and Michael Walk from 2006. And again, Truly Nolan, I know he's here with Vicki. Truly. And I'm sure most of you are very aware of the passing of Arlene Nichols a couple of weeks ago. Jerry and Arlene were our 2008 humanitarian recipients. Obviously, they're still in our thoughts and prayers, but please extend an appreciation to them. I'm going to skip 2009 for just a moment and go to 2010, where we had Judy Sproul, Katie Sproul, and Jennifer Sullivan. One of our trustees, who happens to be a state representative, Kathleen Pasadena, was kind enough to prepare a proclamation from the House of Representatives to Dolph and Sharon Von Arx. I'm not going to read the entire thing because you'll hear some of it later with some of our testimonies and the video, but she does want to recognize Dolph and Sharon, who exemplify the spirit of benevolence and public service in their community. We'll have this right up here for you, Dolph and Sharon. Now, in 2009, the Humanitarians of the Year were Terry and Christine Flynn, who also happen to be our next presenters, so please extend an appreciation to them.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here. We've been practicing this because Dr. Trina said we like that back and forth that you two do sometimes. So all you married men out there will know how this is going to feel trying to do that back and forth. But many of them will give it a Good afternoon, and again, welcome to the Hodges University 2011 Humanitarian of the Year Luncheon, honoring Dolph and Sharon Von Arx.
Honoring Dolph.
We'll share.
Okay. We do a lot of sharing. Honoring Dolph and Sharon is so special to Terry and I because they are one of our dearest friends and are most deserving of this prestigious award. They have done so much in our community by improving the lives of its people, its animals, and its environment.
We first met Dolph and Sharon when we had just moved to Naples. It was at the NCH Hospital Ball, and Dolph was the chairman of the board of trustees of the hospital at that time. I was immediately impressed by the warmth that they had extended to Christine and me, since after all, we were the newcomers to the community. As luck would have it, that evening there was a dinner sponsored by the Von Arx, and we bid on it, and there was some confusion as to who had the last high bid. Dolph settled the matter generously by agreeing to host 2 dinners. That made us very happy because it gave us the opportunity to get to know Dolph and Sharon a little better, and it also made the hospital very happy because they got to sell the dinner twice.
Since then, we have enjoyed many quiet dinners, a peaceful, relaxed New Year's Eve, and many, many fundraisers. Often we agreed to split several bids on travel items or dinners, and we soon learned that Dolph's idea of a good and generous bid was much higher than Terry's. But Dolph would always say, "Come on, it's for a good cause and they need the money." We saw firsthand the Von Arx concern and commitment to the many charitable activities in our area. We learned a lot about helping others from Sharon and Dolph.
One of those auction items that we split involved a trip to Montana where we would share a compound of 4 houses that was right on the banks of the Swan River. It turned out to be one of the most beautiful settings that I have ever seen. We decided to bring our families for a mini vacation. Our kids were not able to come, but they were most happy to send their children. I told you there are a lot of grandparents who understand. Their children off to Montana with their Mimi and Grandpa. Dolph and Sharon had their children, Vanessa, Eric, and Valerie, their spouses, as well as most of their grandchildren. The Flynn's were part of the Von Arx family from the first day, and we really got to know everyone very well. We would have dinners and day trips together, and we would see firsthand how much Dolph and Sharon love their family and how much their family loves them in return.
Sharon's love for animals is legendary here in Naples. One of her pet projects, get it? Involves finding homes for some of the stray cats and kittens that seem to live in the Port Royal area. She called me one day to ask if Terry and I would like to have a kitten that they had just rescued on Rum Row. And I said, no, Sharon, Terry's not really the cat-loving type, but his mother would absolutely love to have a kitten. So we accepted this cat, who living on Rum Row was named Rummy, and we gave him to Terry's mother.
Actually, I thought that was a fine plan since I didn't have to keep the cat. That was until we picked Rummy up to deliver him to my mother, who at the time was living in Fort Myers. First, we stopped at PetSmart to get some cat stock. I told Christine that even after spending almost $500, I was somewhat in a state of shock. I told Christine that even though the kitten was expensive, at least my mom was getting a smart cat, because I had been told by Sharon that the cat had been tutored.
You're right. I had to tell him the cat was not tutored, but the cat was neutered. Upon seeing Rummy, Terry's mom fell in love with this cute little black and white kitten. She said, I think I'll name him George. Well, when we told Sharon Rummy's name was going to be George, Sharon said, you know, George is a wonderful name, but not for a cat. Well, I have to tell you that George is still residing in Fort Myers and is living the good cat life, thanks to Sharon.
George thanks you too. He called because he has been tutored, you know. I think you understand why we love Dolph and Sharon so much. They are wonderful friends, not only to us, but to the entire community. We are so fortunate that they chose to move to Naples because they have worked positive change for all, and we all are most thankful for that. Christina and I are happy to know that not only are Dolph and Sharon great friends of ours, but thanks to Hodges University, they're being properly recognized as humanitarians. Dolph and Sharon, we congratulate you for receiving this great honor.
Thank you, Terry and Christine. And now we would like for you to enjoy a video tribute to Dolph and Sharon.
What makes a good painting? The subject, the style, the interpretation? Or is it the artist? Is he or she able to transmit something of themselves, something essentially human, into their work? Just after the Second World War, a group of artists in New York became the vanguards of a new movement that would shake the very foundations of the art world. These were the abstract expressionists. But this isn't their story. This is the story of a man and woman who aren't even painters, but like the abstract expressionists, their art is their dedication. Their lives are the canvas in which they create great beauty. Dolph and Sharon von Arx have graciously given of themselves to local charities. Their efforts have helped to create a more beautiful community. The son of a Swiss printer and a housewife, Dolph von Arx was raised to appreciate the value of knowledge and learning.
Christmas, I would get one gift, and I'd wanted a football. So Christmas Eve, I get to open my box, and in it is a lampshade. And my mother, she thought it was marvelous because it was the first three-way lamp that we had ever had in our house. And it was for me to read. At the time, I got so angry that I didn't have a football. I left the house crying.
Even though her gift wasn't initially well received, his mother had a lasting impact on Dolph's life.
She was very well read, and she was the real influence on my reading. I still read to this day, one or two books a week.
But reading wasn't the only passion Dolph developed.
I started becoming involved with art classes, and it's interesting because it opened up a new kind of dimension to my thinking.
Despite his love for art, his plans for the future went in another direction.
My career objective as a young man was to become a college professor. I wanted to be a teacher.
It was in Teachers College that Dolph first met Sharon.
I grew up in St. Louis, a city kid. Both of my parents worked. Fortunately, I lived right across the street from school. So I did all the activities, cheerleader, swimming, everything.
She was bright and very involved with school activities. But Sharon's parents weren't convinced that college was the next step for their daughter.
My parents didn't push me to go to college. My mother thought being an airline hostess at that time was probably the nicest thing I could do.
Sharon had different plans and found support just across the street at school.
My teachers encouraged me to go to college. They even had great plans for me. It's just that I couldn't afford living away from home.
She was in the right place for her education as well as for romance. And it was love at first sight, for Dolph anyway.
It sounds crazy, but it was love for me at first sight. Now, it took some convincing with her.
I was immediately attracted. He was okay and he had a car. And I thought this was really a great guy.
They dated for a few months before Dolph decided to leave Teachers College and join the Navy as a pilot, but that didn't stop their budding romance.
I would have a weekend leave occasionally, and being in love, I would drive all the way home to St. Louis from Pensacola before interstate highways. I'd drive straight through 14 and a half hours.
While Dolph was getting his wings, Sharon was going to school part-time and working for the publisher of Ladies' Home Journal. One weekend, he came back to St. Louis in style.
I came home from my first year at my base in Virginia, driving a red Thunderbird convertible, and I gave Sharon a ring. And she said, "This is really lovely." We went out to dinner. She said, "Dolph, tomorrow can we go to the Ford dealer and just look at cars?" I said, "Well, we have a car." She said, "Well, yes, but I don't know how appropriate it is as a family car." So 2 days later, I went back to my base to Virginia, and I drove up the drive, opened the door, got out, and my friend said, "I can't believe it." I was driving a Ford black Fairlane sedan.
After they married, Sharon settled into a role as a Navy wife and found that this new life presented its own set of unique housing challenges.
While Dolph was still in the Navy, I think we lived in 3 houses. One was like the Adams house. 3rd floor, it was just scary. And then he was deployed, came back, we got into military housing so we could have pets.
Dolph and Sharon had a mutual love for animals, and they would quickly become a huge part of their life together.
Sharon and I both loved animals, but were never allowed to have them as children. So the first thing we did is move out of the Charles Adams Victorian-style house, and I bought her a small little English Cocker Spaniel that we loved named Sydney, and that was the beginning of many, many dogs and cats.
When Dolph finished his service, he went back to college, but not to finish his education degree. Instead, he decided to focus on marketing and business with the aim of one day heading a consumer products company. Dolph secured a job in New York at Compton Advertising, an avenue that would provide much-needed experience for realizing that aim. While working, he met a man who would change his life, his boss.
Ed Gallagher. He said, "Lay out your objectives for me." I think he knew I was in my office earlier than most, and then there after they left. So he knew I was dedicated. So I took it in to Ed. He said, "I don't like it." Tears it into 4 pieces and throws it into the waste can. He said, "You got to be more ambitious than that." That was a really seminal moment. I think meeting someone, a mentor in your business life, forces you to perform at a higher level than you think you can.
That mentor helped Dolph achieve his dream. Through years of hard work and determination, Dolph went from being a greenhorn assistant account executive at Compton Advertising to eventually becoming the chairman, president, and CEO of Planters Lifesavers Company. But while Dolph was away, busily working toward his goal and supporting his family, Sharon was exploring an entirely different endeavor: community involvement. Sharon volunteered as a guidance counselor at the local high school, helping students get into college like her own teachers had helped her years before.
I would look at kids' SATs and their grades and say, "Oh, I don't know if you can get in Yale or not." So I knew the importance of college, and I felt very good helping them find the right school.
It would take a little time and a job switch before Dolph joined Sharon in giving back to the community.
My involvement was first driven by the company's demand that I spend the time, and secondly, by once getting involved, understanding the value of it.
Dolph used his ingenuity, his artistic way of creative action, to further benefit whatever cause he was backing.
We were heading a United Way fund for Winston-Salem, and we weren't getting a lot of cooperation. So the very next year, I canceled the formal dinner, and I put them on a bus. So they ended up for lunch at the Salvation Army shelter, and they ate beans out of a can and cooked, of course, and some ham hocks, and they had a nice little Jell-O dessert. That year we had 100% participation. They got the message.
Dolph and Sharon's community involvement became a way of life. When they moved to Naples in 1992, they continued giving back to the community.
I was involved with Youth Haven, the Shelter for Abused Women, and then the Philharmonic Friends of Art. Anybody who couldn't speak for themselves, that's where I went. And when you give a dog a bone and his tail's wagging, the cats are meowing and kissing, and the kids are all smiling, the mothers and children are in a safe haven for a time, that makes me feel good.
Sharon's quest to help those who can't speak for themselves inspired her to create a rescue rehabilitation mission for cats in their own backyard.
I trap, neuter, and release, but I release them right on my own back porch. If I don't get them adopted, that's where they stay. And I have to name them names that I'll easily remember, like Shardy, Scruffy, Blackie, Smokey, Itty Bitty. I can't get fancy with names. They have to be names that I'll be able to know as soon as I see them.
This backyard mission got its start when Dolph and Sharon were still living in Greenwich, Connecticut, when one very special cat wandered into their backyard.
One day, a little skinny kitty walked out of our woods in Greenwich. I mean, a little skinny kitty. So I was feeding it for a few days. Then I had to drive Valerie, our youngest, back to school. So I asked Dolph to feed the cat while I was gone. He said, I'm not going to feed that cat. It'll stay. He was not a cat lover. I came back 2 days later. He was sitting in there with the cat on his chest, reading. And then he had the nerve to name her Lovey.
She didn't see what happened to me, though. I was sitting in my chair having my martini. It was the evening, and I was reading a book, and the cat, out of nowhere, jumps up in my lap. Cats are very smart. They're very clever, and immediately started purring with a loud, throaty purr and looking up at me. That was it.
Going through the Humane Society, I can pick out a half a dozen in the first 5 minutes that I'd like to take home with me. Those woeful eyes poking their noses through the fence at you. I just love them. But then there's also some really shy ones who have been overlooked for so long that we have a program for those pets. And they go through and find some dogs that have been overlooked because of their age, their appearance, and they give a big push on those pets to make them adoptable.
In addition to the causes Sharon supports, Dolph also served as chairman of Naples Community Hospital and serves on the executive committee and board of directors of the Economic Development Council of Collier County, is a board member of the Lutgert College of Business, and serves as the chairman of the Conservancy of Southwest Florida. His involvement in the Conservancy was a cause close to his and Sharon's hearts: wildlife rehabilitation.
The new center is going to be public viewing, a surgery room. We'll have a mammal recovery room and a reptile recovery room and an aviary. I mean, it's amazing where we're going with this.
One of the Conservancy's current projects is the restoration of the Picayune Strand, over 55,000 acres of swampland, land that was originally marketed and sold as a residential area.
I mean, here, it's remarkable. You can drive out here, an hour later, you're in a primeval forest area. It's just unbelievable. And I think you become more understanding, and you become more involved, and you have an intense desire not to lose this.
Dolph and Sharon are helping to protect our beautiful Naples in a number of ways. One of them has become a family affair.
I found it to be important to establish a small foundation to which I would add over time, because I felt it was a good way to hold our family together, to have a unified approach to giving.
Dolph and Sharon have created a lasting legacy for the community we all love. They not only want to affect positive change in the Naples area, but they're also looking to affect change on a larger scale.
I've been investing in green tech and clean tech. The benefit is basically developing cleaner sources of energy that reduce our dependence on foreign oil. And secondly, delivering medical products and services at a more effective and efficient rate to reduce the huge drain on our overall economy that medical service is going to represent as our population continues to age.
The lives of Dolph and Sharon von Arx are reflected in their creativity and actions. Their community involvement and generous giving is the hallmark of true humanitarians. Hodges University is pleased to recognize these artists of positive change. Baird Private Wealth Management proudly presents the 2011 Hodges University Humanitarians of the Year Award to Dolph and Sharon von Arx.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium the 2011 Humanitarian of the Year, Dolph and Sharon von Arx.
Several of our friends asked if we were going to have prepared remarks, and knowing me, they asked it in jest because we never prepare remarks. And fortunately, I didn't prepare remarks because this is what happened to my glasses. Sharon.
I think you've heard the Von Arx name enough for one day, but I would like to say thank you for coming. Thanks to Baird Wealth and Hodges University for giving us this award. It's really quite flattering. We'll try to live up to it.
I thank all of you who attended because it's wonderful to see many good friends and many past and current associates here. And we appreciate your attention, and we hope we inspire you to give your time and a part of your largesse to make Collier County a better place to live. Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite to the podium for the closing comments, Katie Sproul.
Well, good afternoon. I would like to say to Sharon and Dolph, on behalf of all the previous honorees and all present here today, congratulations again on this great honor. We thank you for your commitment to the community. Your tentacles reach far, from business to the arts to healthcare to human services. And I forgot the pets, the animals, sorry. Your impact is real and our appreciation is heartfelt. And thank you to Hodges for continuing the tradition of highlighting and honoring those that make a significant contribution to our community. And Sharon and Dolph, in parting, I'd like to say, enjoy being king and queen of the community for the day. Congratulations. And thank you all for
We invite you to come up and congratulate Sharon and Dolph. We're adjourned.